Are you actually saving enough for retirement? Americans are finally getting closer to that magic 15% savings rate that financial experts have talked about for years. But why is that number recommended? And is that the right number for you? If you're new here, I'm Jonathan Rankin, and for almost 20 years, I've helped people just like you plan for a comfortable and confident retirement. Now, before we dive in, do me a favor, leave a comment below. Are you saving more, less, or about 15% of your income for retirement right now? I'm really curious to see where everybody stands. Now let's start with what experts recommend. See, most financial experts suggest saving between 12 and 15% of your income every year for retirement. But where does that number come from? Because according to research, Social Security will only replace about 30 to 40% of your pre-retirement income, which leaves a pretty big gap. And that's where your 401k, IRA, and personal savings need to fill in. You see, firms like Fidelity and Vanguard say that if you want to maintain your lifestyle in retirement, then you need to replace roughly 70 to 80% of your working income. So hitting that 15% savings mark consistently over a career that spans 30 or 40 years gets most people pretty close to that target. Now, the idea is to smooth out the ups and downs and build a cushion that can weather market volatility and unexpected expenses. So how are Americans actually doing? According to recent data from Fidelity, people with 401k accounts are now saving an average of 14.3% of their income. That's the highest on record. Just a few years ago, the average was 13.5%. So the trend is clearly moving in the right direction. Now, this average includes both what employees save themselves and what employers are contributing on behalf in form of an employer match, because that plays a very big role in hitting these targets. Now let's talk about why we're seeing this improvement. Well, there are really two big reasons. The first is employer contributions, and the second is automatic enrollment. You see, today, about 70% of private sector workers have access to 401k plans. And more companies are automatically enrolling new employees. In fact, more than a third of these companies now start workers at a 5% savings rate or higher instead of the old 3% standard. Plus, most plans are automatically set up to increase your savings rate every year, typically by 1 percentage point until you reach around 10% or more. And don't forget about employer contributions, because the average company match is about 4.8%. And that is free money, and it makes a real difference in growing your retirement savings. So how does all this break down by generation? Fidelity's numbers show that baby boomers, who are the closest to retirement, are saving the most on average of about 17.2%. Gen X comes in at about 15.4%, and millennials are averaging 13.5%. And it makes sense. As people get closer to retirement, they tend to ramp up their savings. But here's the good news. If you start early, even small contributions benefit from decades of compounding, which can have a bigger impact over time. Now, if you're wondering how you stack up, or you want a plan that actually fits your situation, I've put together a free retirement quiz. It doesn't just give you a generic number, it actually sends you a personalized video from a member of our team that's going to be based on your actual numbers and your actual goals, so you get meaningful context, not just a formula. Now, the link's in the description below if you want to check it out, because the big question that we always get is, how do I know if I'm on track? Well, you can dig into the numbers with a comprehensive plan, which you should absolutely do if you're closer to retirement. But if you want just a quick way to check, there is a simple benchmark that you can use. By age 30, you should have about 1 times your annual salary saved. By 40, it's 3 times your salary. By 50, 6 times. And by the time you retire, ideally 8 to 10 times your salary. So are you close to those milestones? Because remember, these are general guidelines and everybody's situation is different. And that's why our retirement quiz is so valuable, because it gives you a result based on your actual numbers, not this one-size-fits-all estimate. Now, of course, not everyone is able to save at these rates, and not everybody has access to a 401k. Because according to research, about 40% of US households are at risk of being unable to maintain their standard of living in retirement. Now, some people work for employers that don't offer retirement plans, and some simply aren't contributing enough. Add to that things like a market downturn and the recent drop in average 401k balances, and it's easy to see why many Americans feel uncertain about their future. So what can you do right now to improve your retirement outlook? Well, first, you want to find out what your current savings rate is by adding together any of your contributions and any employer match. The next thing you want to do is try increasing your savings rate by even 1%. Most people barely notice the difference in their paycheck, but over time, it can add up to tens of thousands of dollars. And always make sure you're getting the full employer match if one is offered, because it is free money. Now, if your employer doesn't offer a retirement plan, then consider opening a traditional or a Roth IRA, or even saving something like a brokerage account so you can invest for long-term growth. So to sum it up, Americans are finally saving closer to that 15% target, but the most important question is, what's right for you? Now you know why the experts recommend what they do and how you compare to others, and most importantly, what you can do to secure your retirement. So take the quiz, leave a comment below, and let's make your retirement plan stronger together. If you found this helpful, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more retirement videos just like this, and I'll see you in the next video.